In a move that shocks absolutely nobody, ladies and gentlemen, Brazil is following the very, very slippery slope that we talk about all the time, man. It is absolutely insane. When I saw this article come out and talking about how Brazil has officially passed a law that made homophobic slurs punishable by prison sentences, I was like, wow, that is absolutely insane. That takes fascism to a whole nother level. And you have all the people celebrating, right? All the people celebrating on Twitter. I had this crazy wokey on my Twitter profile talk about how this is the most amazing thing in the world. They're so excited. They can't wait to see people locked up for saying certain things or whatever. And I'm like, you realize that this is a very, very slippery slope. This entire thing, I can't even believe that this is a headline. And you're going to have websites like Pink fucking News that love to push this stuff because they truly love fascism. They love controlling speech as much as they can, and they don't care if people get locked up. They don't care if this eventually goes into all speech. They don't care as long as they don't get any mean words thrown at them. Oh no, not mean words. They can't handle it. So let's get into this article, guys, from good old Pink News. But of course, before we do, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. So it says, a near unanimous ruling in Brazilian High Court has ruled that homophobic hate speech, aka made up fucking terms, is on the same level as racist hate speech, also known as made up fucking terms, and is punishable with a prison sentence. Well, what do I mean by made up terms? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what you consider hate speech, someone else considers regular speech, right? How do you dictate what is hate speech and what is not? Nobody can tell you exactly what hate speech is because it's all made up. Hate speech is essentially something that someone didn't like hearing. That was basically what it is. Like, words are words at the end of the day, and if they don't like hearing it, then it's considered hate speech. But the funny thing is, if you were to replace a word with another word, suddenly it's not hate speech anymore, and it's allowed, right? So if you were to come out and say, oh, gay people suck, right? Oh, that's hate speech. But if you come out and say white people suck, oh, no, that's perfectly cool. It's all good. You know what I mean? They don't care, man. This hate speech thing is completely made up, and it's full of nonsense. But let's see just how bad Brazil fucked up. So it says a 9-1 ruling handed down through the Supreme Federal Court on Tuesday ruled that homophobia is a crime, much like other forms of hate speech. Lead judge on the case, Justice Edson Fachin, said in the ruling that protecting LGBTQ citizens under the law was a constitutional imperative. Article 20 of the Brazilian Penal Code states that practicing, inducing, or inciting discrimination based on race, color, ethnicity, religion, or national origin is punishable by 1 to 3 years in prison with a substantial fine. Other hate speech protections already imposed in Brazil law extended to HIV-positive individuals. Those found guilty of discriminating against HIV-positive people can face 1 to 4 years in prison. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, man? This is crazy stuff, man. I'm telling you, this is one of the biggest slippery slopes that I think I've seen in a long time. The fact that they are trying to dictate what you can and cannot say by prison sentences and people are celebrating this, that's the crazy thing. It's amazing just what people are willing to give up to feel a little bit safer. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. And we saw that over the last couple of years, the example of just how far people are willing to go just to feel a little bit safer, or at least get the perceived notion that they're safer, when in fact you're actually no safer than you were. All you did was just give up your rights. But hey, that's okay, as long as you get no mean words. You know what I mean? Mean words are very much hurtful. You know, they can kill you at this point. Clearly, mean words are very dangerous. So it says judges had previously ruled in 2019 that homophobic hate speech is a crime equivalent to racism, but earlier decisions pertain to the LGBTQ community as a whole rather than attacks on specific individuals. The ruling, which was brought by the rights group ABGLT, means that those protections will be extended further. ABGLT argued that because Brazil's legislator separately defines hate speech against a group, which it calls a crime of racism, and hate speech against an individual, which it calls a crime of racial injury, LGBTQ plus citizens were not currently protected. The only judge to vote against the request, Minister Cristiano Zanin, argued that to recognize homophobia as crime of racial injury was not relevant to previous rulings. Brazil is considered to be one of the most dangerous places in the world for trans people, according to the rights group Transgender Europe. Just so you guys are aware, all right? Brazil is considered one of the most dangerous period. So of course it's going to be one of the most dangerous for trans people as well. Wouldn't that coincide? Wouldn't that correlate? Don't you think that would correlate? But of course, this is what you call half information, right? This is what you call a company like Pink News that wants to report only on the most convenient facts. They don't want to tell you the full amount of the truth. So they're going to tell you that it's very dangerous for trans people, right? They say, oh, look, statistics show that 1741 trans people have been murdered in the country between 2008 and 2022, with 228 murders of LGBTQ people in Brazil in 2022 alone. So let's do the math a little bit just so that we're all on the same page, right? 1,741 trans people. Divide that by 14 years, right? And you're talking about 124 supposed trans people per year that have been offed in Brazil, right? Now go look at the actual crime statistics of Brazil, and you will see that that number is not very shocking in the slightest. That's essentially going to Chicago and complaining about black-on-black crime or the amount of gun violence and gun deaths that are in Chicago every single weekend. Like that's the equivalent of what you are doing right now. So yes, of course it's the most dangerous for LGBTQ people. Of course it's the most dangerous for trans people because it's one of the most dangerous for all people. But of course the thing is they want special treatment. That's the amazing thing. They want special treatment. They want to make it seem as if they're targeted. They want to make it seem as if, oh, all this homophobia, all this racism, all this, all that. All it's going to take now is for some gay person to put out a false flag against someone and it's going to get them arrested. That's the kind of country that you're living in right now. The fact that you don't have that level of speech allowed anymore, that you don't have that freedom of speech, even if someone didn't say anything, all they have to do is lie and say that they did. How are you going to prove it? How are you going to prove it? What's the chances that you're going to have it filmed, right? Like, if you go and say, oh, this person says something homophobic to me, what's the chances that it's filmed? What's the chances that you can't prove that you actually said it, right? Because they're not going to have to prove that you said it. You're going to have to prove that you didn't say it. So what's the chances of that happening, that you're actually going to be able to prove that you didn't say it? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the very, very slippery slope that we're dealing with right now. And the fact that Brazil, a lot of people in Brazil are celebrating this, they don't realize what they've done, and that is the crazy thing. And you know what? This is what they want to bring to this country. That's what they want to bring to this country. There's people in this country that will love to see laws like that passed without realizing that once they come for some speech, there's only a matter of time before they're going to come for all speech. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But the sad thing is, those people who are okay with these laws, they're actually usually okay with living under someone's boot, which is exactly what's going to happen if stuff like this keeps going down. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.